Here yet. And we're welcome to the Crafty Boys. This is episode 153, and it's all Locke's fault that we're here this week because he's just so awesome that he's calling us from a bar. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Russian Imperial Stout.
Russian Imperial Stout.
Russian Imperial Stout. It's by a brewery called McCausland. They're from Montreal, and it's fucking fantastic. It's relatively dry, but still very intense. It's like eating dark chocolate, kind of.
Ooh.
But it'd be like that 90% fucking cocoa. It'd be like the high cocoa solids kind of.
You
chocolate.
had me until there.
Oh, you're not a fan
for me.
No, it's what it is. What it is very dense flavor. It's stout. It's Russian, and it's Imperial, and it's like 9.2% or something like that. So
nice.
So we can't see you, Locke, because
That's true.
because for whatever reason. I think you should be able to see me, but for whatever reason, my phone has decided that because there's an ongoing Hangouts call going on, that I can't sign out and sign in again, which I think is what I would need to do in order for there to be video, which is sad because this is a picturesque looking place, ladies and gentlemen. This looks like a Eastern European taverna crossed with maybe a fucking pretty awesome sort of Eastern European youth hostel.
Nice.
So it's kind of got that vibe to it, you know what I mean? Like, everything's a little bit studenty. The art is modern, but the furniture is sort of pre-modern, if you see what I mean. It's all sort of a mishmash of wooden chairs and, a sort of awesome, oddly shapen, sort of communal tables and stuff like that. There's candlelight going on here. Nice. Yeah, this is a very sweet spot.
Nice.
Drum on Queen Street West.
As much as I want to drink beer there right now, we actually have beer back here on the West Coast.
Yes. Tell us about the beer.
Yes, it was your pick this week, and you picked a hard one, you jerk. So go ahead and tell everyone why.
All right, so I went a little bit off the board this week. I don't know if we've actually ever done this brewery before on our show. There's a reason why we probably haven't done them before, and we will broach that topic. But anyway, it's from Granville Island Brewing. It's from their small batch series. It's out for summer 2018. It's the Westcoast Farmhouse Saison. It comes in at an IBU rating of 36, has 5.9% alcohol by volume. So it's funky Franco-Belgian yeast flavors, get a refreshing West Coast twist thanks to locally grown Pacific Northwest hops. Think pepper, spice, and fruit with a bold hop finish. Now, as I said, this is a small batch release. It's only out for a little while. I saw it. It's new. I figure Granville Island Brewing, Shane should be able to get it, and it should be widely available. And so let's give it a try. So let's open it and give it a bit of a sampling.
So I had to go all the way to the Granville Island Brewery on Granville Island today.
How was that?
Because I called them and said, hey, I'm looking for this beer. Where can you tell me where to get it? And they said, oh, you can't get it anywhere. I said, I can't get it anywhere at all? And he's like, yeah, no, it's all gone pretty much. And I said, oh, okay, well,
fuck that. I'm going to the source.
So they said it's only in our cooler at the location. They're not shipping any more of it. So that's what it looks like. It's a hazy, yellow, lemony sort of color to it, which I like.
Mm-hmm. Mine looks a little bit darker on my camera here, but I think I would say it's sort of like more of a hazy, lemony kind of thing in person. So let's.
Did it make it all the way up to Dave?
Dave did locate it as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Dave. Have you done your thing?
Have I done my thing?
Have you poured your beer?
Yes.
Done your thing. Yeah, well, you know the thing that you normally do. Have you done that thing? But then there's also the pouring of the beer.
That thing you do.
So this is the label here for the Granville Island West Coast Farmhouse Saison. I have to say I'm liking this. I'm really enjoying the flavors. Now, it's supposed to be sort of like a bit of a peppery, spicy, fruity kind of finish, but I'm not really detecting so much the spices and the peppers, more the fruit. It's very balanced, I find.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time with peppers and spices and stuff, those tend to be a little overpowering, and they overpower everything. That's not happening with this beer. It's a good balanced flavor. It drinks easily. Doesn't have a bitter aftertaste or anything. I'm actually really liking it. What do you guys think?
Come on, Dave.
It's tasty. I pretty much, yeah. I would call this.
Yeah, beer. Yeah, beer's awesome. Yeah.
I call this a classy beer.
Podcast called Beer, and there's beer, and I like it.
Yeah.
Great. More about beer.
I call this a classy beer.
Oh, this is a beer where you dress up in a tuxedo and then go to your local fancy restaurant and you say, "I'd like to have the short stack." The short stack? No, not the short stack. The small batch West Coast Farmhouse Ale, which, by the way, or Saison. By the way, when I was there, the nice guy that was at the till.
Laugh at you?
No, I asked him about how different this beer was from the one last year, and it was like a quote from an '80s film that we all know and enjoy. He goes, "This one's good. The other one sucked." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So it was kind of fun, but and I took the bus.
I hope so.
You took the bus.
The bus is always fun.
So
Good
wait,
God,
Shane,
man.
don't you live relatively close to Granville Island?
It's further. It's a kilometer further than it takes you to get to Uptown.
If he's willing to take the ferry, he's good to go. If he has to hoof it, it easily takes twice as long.
It's 3.9 kilometers, and I measured a long time ago. I measured how far it was to Uptown from your place because I was at Uptown,
Yeah.
and it was just under 3, I think. So distances here are farther than you think. We are much bigger city. When you walk here, city walks
didn't
you.
we walk like back to your place from Granville Island at one
I did
point?
that last week.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you do it at 7 o'clock at night, when you have to be back here to do a podcast around 9:30,
Oh,
not so happening.
all right.
So, no, it was not something I was.
Okay. So one
Yeah,
thing I
but
want to
anyway,
get
yeah.
to the bottom of:
Yes,
we ever done a Granville Island brew before?
I totally believe that we have.
I
I
agree.
can't
If we
imagine.
have,
I
we've
can't
done
imagine we could have occluded something as primary as Granville Island Brewery.
Well, I have. a
Okay,
feeling there's
fine.
a
They got
reason
out.
why
The-
we've missed
my
it.
my understanding is they were bought out by Molson Coors, correct?
Yeah, a
Well-
long time ago.
Okay, well,
Yeah. But that's
Kind of.
old news. That's old news. But they've given them arm's length, and they're still making good product, right?
So they were actually bought out by Creemore Springs, which is a subsidiary of.
Well, that's an interesting twist. I didn't realize that. Creemore, I know
Yes.
well. I'm in Ontario right now. They're they're better than average.
Holy crap! We've only done one Granville Island brew.
And the
Really?
reason why
Are you serious?
We
left
did
it at
the
that one.
Lions Winter Ale back
Yes.
in episode 43.
Oh wow!
And the only reason why that one was the only one is because we came to the conclusion that they weren't a microbrewery, and therefore were not worthy of us doing a show, if my memory serves.
They didn't fit the craft definition as
they didn't fit the craft definition. But if we're gonna do things like Boddingtons and Crabbies and stuff like
no, sure,
you know,
I agree.
As long as a brewery is putting out good product, they should be
no reason to be a snob about it. I fully agree, Alan. I think you're on point there.
I'm game for that too.
Now, having said that, I think Granville Island and for some of their regular beers are kind of they're passable. They're not great. I don't know if I would delve into them too heavily, but some of their small batch stuff and seasonal stuff is actually fairly decent. They do put out a chocolate quarter or something. There we go. At Christmas time, and it is amazing. So
we did?
Yeah.
You haven't hung up.
You gotta hang up your other call there.
I don't know how to hang up. Okay, fine. I'm gonna kill the phone because there is officially no app running on this phone right now, which is a scary fucking thought. It says that I am powering down the phone. Power off.
I still hear music coming from your location.
I have music coming from my location. Generally, that's normal. Standard.
Okay, it's just really loud.
Oh, I'll see if I can reduce that. Hold on.
But bow.
No, one thing I wanted to say about this this beer, they have on the side of the label here pairing suggestions, and they have suggested Moles Frites, which I looked up online. I didn't know what that was. It's mussels and fries. So they suggest pairing this with mussels and fries.
Interesting.
So, fries and mussels. I have actually never considered mussels and fries to be something you'd pair together at all.
Yes, but you've been to Ferris's, haven't you? And you know what their fries are like.
Yeah, that's true.
Imagine putting mussels on those. Now, consider that the next time you're in Victoria, you can order that. Won't you?
I totally could. What the hell was that noise?
I think we're getting feedback.
Do you have like music playing that features crickets?
maybe. I think what it's called. Let me see if I can fucking locate the track. It's called 3 Hours of Blade Runner.
3 hours of Blade Runner. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I'm actually Googling that right now because I want to know. But the oh, come on, computer. Give us information about beer.
Computer. Hello, computer.
So what? Okay, so basically, are we giving up on our definition of craft? Is that kind of what we're trying to?
No, I don't think we are.
No, we're not. I think what we're doing is we're putting some pay to the fact that these are not hard-edged definitions. This is craft is something that people do. It's not if somebody who is part of the craft movement or whatever does something that exhibits skill, expertise, care, attention, and good taste. I think that's something that we can readily talk about as craft. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And let's face facts here. Granville Island Brewing still is, although they're owned by Molson Coors, still operates. It's at least it seems to independently. So they're still churning out their same product. It's not like they've got Molson Canadian just funneling into like a bunch of vats and they're pouring it into different bottles with different labels, right? I mean, they're still crafting beer. They're still putting out like small limited release brews. So I think Granville Island can still be considered to be a small brewery. Not as small as, say, like Bridge Brewing or something like that, or Main Street in Vancouver, or maybe like Phillips here in Victoria.
Or Signal from Corbeville, Ontario.
Yeah. So, but I think Granville Island deserves a little bit more attention than they've been given.
Okay. What do you think, Dave?
I think that's all fair. I've never really subscribed to the idea that a brewery as a whole is or is not. You know, it's more about the beer itself. So this West Coast Farmhouse, that's a perfect example, right? Because we've talked in the past about how we thought Granville Island, you know, kind of was one of the big boys now. And so, as Alan was saying, not really worthy of attention. But if they're still doing things like these, small batch, then totally, I think it's worth checking them out from time to time if, you know, those are available and we can get our hands on them. Because I kind of like not exclusively doing the local boys, but I like making sure that we do them for sure, you know.
I think what we're looking for is somebody going beyond, you know, the sort of a standard level of effort to doing something that's actually like they care about what they're doing and they want to make it interesting for us, so that it's interesting for the people that are listening to us talk about it, right? I think that's probably the, you know, sort of the standard that we're aiming for.
Right.
Incidentally, Dave, I think I may have. So I randomly picked up a bunch of Ontario beer to try out on the show, and I think I may have found something that you, if you ever get a chance, might want to try it. Listen to the ingredients list on this. Water.
You got to show me the label, dude. That looks really cool.
Yeah. Check that. See if you can see that properly.
Oh.
That is awesome.
How sweet is that? So what this is made of is water, barley malt, wheat malt, passion fruit puree, mango puree, hops, flaked oats, and lactose.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah,
what
does
is
that
it?
sound like clear to you? This is some kind of madness. Well, what is it? What it seems to be is some sort of Northeast IPA with a fucking serious tropical note. I haven't heard anything about Bret bacteria, but because that's normally where you get passion fruit from. But if we're talking beer, but this is actually got passion fruit puree in it. I'm pouring it now. It's totally opaque. You cannot see through this stuff.
Wow.
Nice.
And just to finish off, this is Collective Arts Brewing.
Collective Arts Brewing. Okay.
Collective Arts. Yeah.
Huh. Wonder if you can get it out here.
Good question.
Possible.
Hamilton, Ontario is where they're ostensibly from.
Okay. I was actually looking up festivals across the country for beer festivals and that kind of stuff recently, the past couple of weeks. But I did find one that I think is worth our attention because I think we should do this because it happens in the summer when Locke is, not in law school.
Yeah.
And it also is in Alaska.
Mm.
So This one is called actually, well, you'll see the reason in a sec. It's called the Beer and Bacon Festival.
I read about this.
It happens in Anchorage. I gather it is $50 to get there. It sells out pretty quickly. But I thought it would be kind of fun to try out because there's nothing wrong with drinking beer. You get 20 beer tasting tickets, they say. And apparently there's a lot of bacon available. So I like beer. I like bacon. I mean, what else do you need to know about this festival? I mean, really.
When is it?
It happens this coming weekend.
But beyond that, yes, I'm there.
So if we're going to go now, we better get tickets because they're almost sold out. But I gather they're wanting it to be an annual sort of event. So I looked up where it is, and it looks gorgeous. And I think we should give it a try at some point.
Yes, because at some point. So that will give us time to get passports. And
you don't have a passport?
I do not have a passport.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
I do not.
Wow.
I got a passport a few years ago, like one of those 10-year ones.
Yeah, I actually had one, and I let it expire because Trump became president, and I said, I'm not stepping foot
there
in
are
the
plenty
United
of places
States.
to travel besides South.
That's true. You could go to China or Dave's backyard.
That's
Or-
true.
I gather there's a passport for
New
that.
Zealand,
Probably.
or England.
I imagine he has very
Scotland,
strict.
or Ireland.
It is an autonomous zone. And yes, I do have very strict regulations. I do.
He has to ask his mom.
Or Belgium.
Belgium, another good country. Moving on from the beer fest because we know we want to go.
Hey, can I just interject for something?
Yes.
I don't want to bring down the podcast or anything, but I want to do this before we all run out of beer.
Hit me.
So Shane and I got our start in improv and comedy quite a number of years ago.
Yep.
And today we lost an important part of our improv community. And I would like to raise a glass in memory of Stuart Palfrey, whom I had performed with many times. And actually, I knew of him earlier when I was a kid because he drove around the Victoria's iconic pink flamingo convertible car. And he drove around in the 80s all over the place with this thing. It was like,
I have fond memories of that car.
Shitty convertible with a pink flamingo lawn ornament like stapled to the back on the trunk. And this thing was hilarious. Stuart was hilarious. But above that, he was a great person. And he passed away today far too young. And I feel like I owe it to him to raise a glass in memory of Stu Palfrey. Gone, certainly not forgotten.
Yeah,
All right,
that sucks, man. It was, as I said to you earlier, I had no idea he was not well. But yeah.
All right, moving on.
Moving on. How do you get out of that mental area?
Alan happens to have posted a story here.
Yes, I did. So moving on from the beer and bacon thing, I found an article that says it's titled "A Beer a Day Keeps the Cardiologist Away." So this makes perfect sense that you would pair it with bacon, because apparently beer can take away all of the bad stuff that the bacon puts in. This is from geek.com. Well, it's an old article dated March 23rd, 2017. For some reason, it was shared just recently online. But apparently, the results of a study was published in a peer-reviewed journal that showed. Where does it say here? that beer can actually help prevent like heart attack, aneurysms, heart failure, unstable angina, and all the rest of it. So it was kind of an interesting thing. I thought we might be
well,
beer and bacon. That might be
bring myself out of a heart attack. Fucking A.
yeah. So drink up.
All right.
A couple other things.
Heart attacks.
I don't have articles to link to this. With camping season being upon us, people want to obviously pack beer with them when they go camping. Do they want to pack a bomber bottle when they go camping?
Of course not.
Probably not. So, what's everybody's favorite IPA here?
I'm
Fat
going to go
Tug.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fat Tug. Okay, so would you take a
So
Fat
what are you
Tug
calling it?
camping though?
Are you saying that it's in cans?
Just a second.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Would you take a Fat Tug camping?
I would probably not do that. No.
Would I take
Okay,
a Fat
well
Tug?
then
Maybe-
you are in
maybe-
luck.
maybe
As Locke
one.
had alluded to,
Dozen.
Fat Tug has been
Yeah,
released
I
in
would-
6-pack cans.
Holy! I'm out of here. See you guys.
It's in cans. Fucking A, man. Nice. Yeah.
Came out this past weekend at exclusively at Cascadia stores, but apparently is going to be a little bit more wide-reaching fairly soon. I have heard rumors that they may be looking at 4 packs of tall cans, depending
Okay.
on how the 6-packs go.
Who cares? It's Fat Tug in a portable device that will be able to allow you to drink it wherever you want
And it won't break.
without, shattering glass
Like
all
if
over the
you
world.
drop it.
I would point out briefly, not to belabor the point, that Blue Bridge has been available in the can for some time now. But that said, Blue Bridge, that's camping and a half. You know what I mean? Like that's. I mean, the thing with Blue Bridge is it's like getting your alcohol and your bug spray in one can. Like,
Yeah.
It literally has that sort of slightly deep sort of. Other than that, it is absolutely invisible to your alcohol radar. So you can knock, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them back, and not think about it, and then try to stand up and realize that's not happening. But Fat Tug is mighty close competition. I would have to say that if I would at all alter my original statement, my favorite camping beer would be Fat Tug. Blue Bridge is a mighty close second, but
Okay.
I there's certain things that are improved. I mean, it would be the sort of camping where you're actually going out to get wrecked, where you would be drinking Blue Bridge.
Right.
Like that's not camping for camping's sake. That's camping as an excuse to get wrecked.
Right. Now, something else that I saw, and I'm trying to look up what I read,
Okay.
because now I can't find it. I don't know if I dreamt it or what, but Parallel 49 from Vancouver is teaming up with 4 different small craft breweries in Alberta to release a 4-pack of tall cans based on sort of like these movie themes, like horror movie themes. It's really interesting, and the beers actually sound really, really good. They're only going to be available in Alberta, however. They will not be available in
Is there a full-on Carpenter?
They are collaborating with Trolley 5 to bring out a beer called Cowboy Crusher ISA.
No, it was 4 different breweries that they're going to be creating.
Okay,
Right.
let's see what are the ones they got rocking and rolling here.
I'm hoping that somewhere in here there's going to be an overt Carpenter reference, because not a lot of people know this, but John Carpenter, the filmmaker, actually has some very real connections with Alberta. In particular, WWF wrestling star Roddy Piper, who was in They Live.
Of course.
Yeah. So wrestling is enjoying a little bit of a renaissance right now. Have you noticed on top of the Netflix show, there's generally a lot of material suddenly available on YouTube that's like old school interviews with the classic WWF wrestlers, who incidentally, most of them got their start at Stampede Wrestling in Calgary.
That's right.
So Iron Sheik, so British Bulldogs, Bret the Hitman Hart, the Hart Foundation. I went to high school with a lot of guys who had Owen Hart teaching their gym class. No joke.
Wow.
Yeah. I dated Roddy Piper's niece briefly.
Nice. And how did it go?
No, well, she's crazy as fucking bat, but I have to say, like, a fantastic fucking person. Like, last time we talked, it was pretty civil. That hasn't always been the case, but yeah, no. Holy cow.
That's kind of awesome, actually.
Nice.
And I've coached with Jason the Terrible. Coached baseball.
Who the hell is Jason the Terrible?
Jason the Terrible was a wrestler on Stampede Wrestling, and eventually made the move to the wrestling league that was on TBS, on Turner's network.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then he decided that he as Jason the Terrible, he wore a hockey mask the whole time. So he was never actually shown his face. So when he decided to retire from wrestling, they simply replaced him with somebody else who resumed wearing the mask.
Right.
And they just assumed it was the audience assumed it was the same person, but it wasn't. So the first.
Can anybody confirm or deny whether that happened with the Ultimate Warrior?
Huh?
Can anybody confirm or deny whether it was the same guy doing the Ultimate Warrior all those years, or whether the guy changed but the makeup stayed the same?
I think it was probably the same guy, although I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever.
Anyway, the guy that I've coached with, who was Jason the Terrible, he had some neat stories. He personally knows like the Undertaker and those kind of guys, and it's kind of cool,
Totally,
he's a big guy. Whenever I was like coaching with him, because the guy stands like 6'2", and he looks like a wrestler, and I'm like, I always want you on my side here, because nobody's gonna mess with us with you there, right? And I never knew he was actually a wrestler. I found out through he was talking to some other people about it, and I was like, "What? You actually were a wrestler?"
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it is.
I cannot find any information about the identity of the.
No, me neither.
Of the whole,
which is weird, because I was seeing
sounds
it
like
all over the place in the last couple of days.
Yeah, well, he seems to have maintained the character the entire time. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2014, and then died.
Dead, yeah.
Died what is it? Sorry, I'm just looking at here. So April 5th, and he died April 8th.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
So he was dead the day after, essentially. One of the he did an appearance on Raw, I guess, the day before. He was only 54.
Yeah, anybody that says anybody that says that wrestling was all fake should look at the age that people live to when they do that. You know what I mean?
Well, just because you're a stuntman doesn't mean you get off scot-free.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
There's, I mean, they put some serious work into what they do, and it's, yeah,
It's true. They do.
Yeah. Every time I think of the wrestling sort of, basically any of the wrestlers that I remember growing up with, I mean, about, I don't know, 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, I happened across something on Netflix that was like a couple of documentaries sort of back to back about people that were in those wrestling in the WWF at the time. Excuse me. But the first one was basically it was called I think Beyond the Mat or something, and it was a light documentary that followed a bunch of different wrestlers around. Particularly focusing on Jake the Snake Roberts. And Jake the Snake Roberts, basically at the time of that film, was a drug addict. I mean, he was essentially addicted to pain medication and all kinds of things, heavy drinking and all that sort of stuff. The documentary that was produced after that it's basically a documentary about this sort of, I call it a halfway house, but it's not. It's more of a rehabilitation center. But it's basically one of the wrestlers that we grew up with, whose name escapes me at the moment. After he got out of wrestling, he decided he was actually watching a lot of the wrestlers that he worked with for over the years, going, "Man, these guys are just messed up." So he, because of his body also taking a huge toll, like a beating from that kind of work, decided that he wanted to do something different. So he got heavily into yoga and these sorts of things, and sort of stuff that, hopefully would promote your body to kind of repair itself and things.
Sort itself out, yeah.
And so he invited a bunch of these wrestlers to come and basically live at his house, and he would be like their not their warden, but basically look after them essentially. So he tracked down Jake the Snake. He tracked down who was the guy that had the toothpick in his mouth all the time?
Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
No. He
He
had the slick hair, like he was like Ramon or something. Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
They tracked him down. There were a couple of others that sort of made brief appearances, but essentially those were the two that kind of stuck around. And Jake was like living, he couldn't get out of his chair in his living room kind of thing. The Razor Ramon guy was in a fucking wheelchair. He was not able to move really. Both of them were addicted to some sort of pain medication. So he got these guys to his house. And I think they did Kickstarters because at the time, Jake the Snake Kickstarter had he was asking for money to pay for an operation in his shoulder, to pay for something in his back, possibly knees, I don't know, but essentially they raised money in order to be able to fund these expensive surgeries on these old dudes who and they did it, and they actually had touched on sort of the rehab after that sort of thing.
That's the thing. And that's another point, is these guys have no pensions.
Yeah, no, they're on their own after they were done. I mean, what's his face? How's the guy's name? Vince McMahon. Doesn't have the greatest track record, at least up to that point.
Still
doesn't.
I think if you follow some of the documentary and interview material on Bret Hart, he kind of lays it pretty bare as to who Vince McMahon is. At the end of the day, he was a point man on making something very exciting for a lot of people happen. You know, like I don't want to take away from what he accomplished there, but you know, you listen to Bret Hart's account of it. Yeah, I mean, at times it got a little cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a documentary called that I have tried to find a few times, but it's a documentary about Bret Hart called Wrestling with Ghosts. No.
Yeah, you know what? I think
Wrestling with Shadows.
Yeah, Wrestling with Shadows. I think that
something like that.
Yeah. I know one of the producers who worked on that show. Yeah, no, it's quality. It's quality. Check it out. I mean, it happened outside of the publicity machine for WWF, so it's got a lot of credibility as far as I can see.
It's definitely something that I mean, I remember a few years ago when I was first reading about wrestlers and basically what happened to the wrestlers. So I was looking up, like, I went to a Wikipedia list of all the wrestlers, and basically every name I recognized, I was kind of looking at what they were doing, like what kind of stuff they were up to, and essentially, most of them are gone. Like most of them are dead. Because of heart attacks in their 40s, mainly, which kind of points out that, who was taking steroids? Oh, all of these ones that are no longer around because they've died because they were abusing their body. But the saddest one for me, and I've probably mentioned it before, but was Junkyard Dog. Who he was the wrestler that had the chains around his neck, and he had some, I've forgotten what his wrestling move was, but I seem to remember it was like he would bite people. I don't know. Anyway,
no. I don't remember that.
Was he choking people with chains? I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He basically, after he retired, he started some sort of successful thing, doing whatever the hell. But he didn't die of a heart attack. He didn't die of any. He was apparently in decent health. But he fell asleep while driving a car. He went out to his daughter's high school graduation.
Oh,
and
shit!
Then he was driving back. Yeah, and he drove into a tree after he. I think the thing is he fell asleep at the wheel, kind of deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really sad. So, what can you do? I want to bring we've talked about a lot of death today. So for the last little bit, I want to bring us up into a little bit of a more positive, cheery thing. But I want to introduce to you a brewery that's in Newfoundland, specifically in Dildo, Newfoundland, called Dildo Brewing Co. And this
fucking Newfoundland. Good God, can I not be from Dildo fucking Newfoundland?
I know, huh? So they have dodged the articles talks about how they are avoiding the, how shall I say, low-hanging fruit of racy beer names for their beer.
I think we talked about these guys a couple weeks ago.
Dildo, I guess.
Really?
Yeah,
I have no memory of that at all.
If we did, I've got no memory of it.
Oh, maybe I brought up the article to talk to you guys about that. I decided at the last second. No.
Well, their opening weekend. Their opening weekend was on the 29th of June. They're actually called the Dildo Brewing Co. and Museum. I'm not sure why, but essentially, they have a significant amount of how shall I say choices. They have a stout, an IPA, a red, a blonde, and a blueberry blonde, which are the beers that they were opening with. And I think this is another location that we need to start making pilgrimages to throughout our fine and vast country. Because why not? As we've already pointed out today, we could be dead tomorrow.
One from Dildo? Sure.
So I think we should go to Dildo. I'm actually not sure where Dildo is.
Newfoundland.
I know it's in Newfoundland. I'm just kind of curious where exactly in Newfoundland. Like, is it on?
It's not a big place.
No, it's a tiny place. It's west of St. John's, so I think it's worth a trip to get there. I'm trying to find the actual names of their beer. They apparently don't have a website, supposedly. 100 clicks west of St. John's on the shore of Trinity Bay. Come on, guys, give up the names. I want to know.
You know what? I read the names of the beers, and they're pretty innocuous. They don't.
Okay, well, let's hear them.
Oh, I don't remember. I read them a couple weeks ago.
They are. They have a tap room. Wow, how could they not have a website? I mean, really, of all the things that they should have in this world, is definitely not a Facebook page.
But let's be realistic. If they had a website and somebody searched for it, what would they get?
That's a very good. I hadn't thought of it that way. That's actually not a terrible point. I mean, it's better than Scud Runner. Yeah, I can't find their actual names. They don't seem to have them anywhere. They did have them in the original article, which I've since lost, apparently. Let's see. Oh, here we go. The Isa Die by Pay. I guess that's an IPA. Ice the buy. Ice to buy. I'm trying to pronounce it with the IPA lilt to it, but I can't do it.
Ice the IPA.
There you go. The Blonde Route 80, which is a highway in the province, and Red Rocks Ale, the Stout Dildo.
Stout Dildo, nice.
Now that I gotta say is a coffee toffee flavor, and but that's it. That's pretty much the. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, you're right. They're pretty innocuous. I mean, the Stout Dildo is not terrible.
Boys.
But the other ones they've talked about on their Facebook page are not represented here with proper names. So what can you do? So there you go. Ice to buy ice. Oh my God.
Ice to buy.
Ice to buy IPA. Ice to buy IPA. There we go. I think that's almost it. I can't complain. If I really want to have their beer now. This is the problem. Why are we not on a plane already? Rock. Call Iron Maiden, get them to fly us out there because I know they have their own plane.
Yeah, they're big on the plane nowadays. We'll see about it.
They'll be in the middle of a concert in like Amsterdam or something. It's like he's on stage, his phone suddenly raising. Goes, oh, hold on a second, everybody. I got my good friend Locke from Canada on. Okay. We're gonna have to stop the show now because a bunch of guys in Canada want to.
They just called us out of the loop. It's Bruce Dickinson who's the pilot, right?
Yes.
Actually, little known fact, the drummer is also a pilot.
Oh, really?
Multiple pilots in that band.
That is so bizarre. Well, I mean, hell, when are they not touring? I mean, when you think about it.
Oh, look, if that was
like they always are.
Look, I'd be a pilot too, wouldn't you?
It's true. I mean, how the hell would you save? You'd save so much money.
Okay,
over a long period of time.
Here in multiple places, if you can bring that, holy shit, that's some added value.
Yeah.
Well, I gather they have a plane called Ed Force One.
Yes, they do.
Which I think is really cool.
It's called Ed Force One. The latest one was the 747.
I was just gonna say it looks to be a 747.
Yes.
That is crazy.
We should get them to fly into Victoria and do a show.
Well, if you talk with them, you know who else do that? Though he was never a pilot himself, but he used to do these like weird tours where you look at, okay, where can I fly to on a moment's notice, and he'd organize his plane schedule like Prince. I saw Prince at the Saddledome in Calgary. And it wasn't
Really?
part of some multinational, like, you know, we've got a million dates kind of thing. He just randomly showed up in Calgary one night. She said, yeah, fuck it, I'm playing Calgary. It was awesome. It was
So they just like landed and they were like, we're playing here. Thanks, guys.
It was like there are no other dates advertised as part of a tour. We just decided, we meaning Prince, decided Prince is playing Calgary. And he fucking threw it down. This was in the mid-90s. It was fucking shit hot. He played guitar better than most bands that are all about being awesome guitarists. He played better guitar than that. Then danced better than most of the bands that are about being awesome dancers. And then sang better than most bands that are all about being like, oh, we've got the best voice on the planet. And then started humping the stage, then puts his fist in the air and goes, yeah, man, God, believe in God. After humping the stage. That's an entertainer right there. That's a motherfucking entertainer. Prince was he was genuinely a prince amongst men.
So true. It kind of makes me want to learn to fly and have a plane.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to, you know, hump the stage and, you know, rock an audience. All of this. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? That's a pretty awesome power. How did he manage to do just fucking? We just slid into it. It was so easy. Just like, oh, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to dominate the world. I'm going to hop the stage. I'm going to punch my fist in the air and go, yeah, God, you know, it's all going to be easy. You know, but it's okay that I'm a better guitarist, singer, and dancer than most of the people trying to do that professionally all over the fucking planet. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna wing that shit.
If you were to have a plane, what would you call it?
Oh, if I were to have a plane, I would call it. Ooh, what would I call it? I would call it Arum.
Let's say that again.
Arum. A-U-R-A-M.
Really? Huh. What about you, Dave?
Oh man, what do I call it? I don't know. I just, for some reason, I just want to call it Airwolf.
Fucking A. Sweet. I love it.
I know that's not an airplane. I know that.
That's a helicopter, but I don't care. I approve your choice.
What about you, Alan?
An aircraft? What I would name it?
Yeah.
Death Star.
That makes me
no.
That makes me think of the fucking
the
Guppy.
Millennium Falcon.
Oh, well, there you go.
Falcon.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
Gotta be the Millennium Falcon.
Yep. That's what you would do.
Death Star makes me think of the Guppy. That would be insane.
Shane thinks he's getting away with not having an answer to this because he posed
No, I already know. I would call mine the Keymaster.
the Keymaster.
Keymaster.
Yeah.
The Keymaster, because you gotta go find the gatekeeper.
Fucking A, man.
How many gatekeepers can I get on my plane?
Zool.
Reminds me of the reboot, by the way, of Stargate.
Sorry. Wait a minute. Back up. They're rebooting Stargate.
Indeed.
The
last article I saw is it's a thing.
Why are they rebooting it?
Wait, are they rebooting the TV or the film?
TV.
franchise?
It's TV. Yeah, it's gonna be a TV show.
Didn't they just run like 5 series for like 900 years?
Something like that. But then again, you can say the same with Star Trek. Here, like, did any of you guys watch the 12 Monkeys TV? series?
I didn't. I skipped over it because I thought it might be terrible.
Well, look, here's the thing. It's not proper Terry Gilliam. What it is slightly 12 Monkeys flavored CSI Atlantis, if you see what I'm saying.
Interesting.
It's like one of those fucking cop shows, only set with a Stargate. Only it's a time Stargate.
Okay. I kind of want to have.
It's not bad. It's not proper. It's not for those of you who are Gilliamites like I am and who fucking think that the Time Bandits may have been one of the best films ever made ever. It's not like that. It's not that good. It's not that stylized or it's not as visionary, but is it good? Yeah, actually, it's pretty good.
What about oh my God.
With George Burns?
I think my God, the movie. I had a thought. I totally lost it. Wow. Age, man.
Yeah. Getting older.
Getting older. It's too bad. But something you said, Locke, just sparked my memory of something I forgot.
Surroundings. He's already in the rubber room.
Hey, which reminds me, I don't know why I'm thinking about this. There used to be a restaurant in Vancouver here near my place called Foundation, which was a vegan restaurant that served all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But the Foundation restaurant closed down, and guess what opened in its place, Peanut Gallery?
What?
The Rumpus Room.
Oh.
Remember the one
Is
that
that
had...
locked?
No, the rubber's
That
room's
is
back.
locked.
Hi.
Hi, Alan and
Hello.
Jay.
Hey, Alan.
And Faith the Pug is here making her
Hi, Phoebe.
second or third appearance. Did you
How's
visit
Phoebe
people?
today?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Oh, hello, Phoebe.
But hey, so Vancouver people,
Yes.
there was a restaurant that I used to go to in Vancouver, and I could never remember the name of it. I don't even remember where in Vancouver it was, but every time I went to Vancouver, I always ended up at this place. So it was like a cafeteria style restaurant, and it was very popular. You'd walk in, you'd grab a tray and put it along the counter, and you'd say, I want that from the display case. I want this from the display case. And they had sort of like, a short order cook, and you could put in an order. The food was always fantastic.
Where was
huh?
Where is
In Vancouver. I don't know where.
really? How can you not know
But
where?
I always ended up at this place. Like, no matter who I went to Vancouver with, we always ended up at this place eating there. It was very popular.
What time of night?
This is probably in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it still exists or not. But I used to remember the name of this place, and now I don't remember it. And if it still exists, I want to go again.
Well, how about, let's make a deal. You remember the name, and then come on over.
It's not going to happen.
There, and we'll do it.
It's not going to happen.
So
I'm not going to remember the name.
Do any of you remember when it was illegal to drink at a bar after midnight on Sunday in Vancouver? Because that happened in the 1990s, as I recall.
Yeah. It may have even been like the early 2000s that I went to it as well. I mean, it could still exist.
do you know where it might have been?
No. Okay, so Commercial Drive rings a bell, but it may not have been on Commercial Drive.
Wazubi's?
Huh?
No, but describe your experience.
Okay.
One more time.
So you walk in on the left-hand side of the restaurant. That's where the door is. And there's, like you pick up a tray and you put it down on the counter and you slide it along the counter, and there's display cases and you can pull it out, like pie or whatever else that you want to eat. And then there's then you come up to the ordering station where you can order your food. They cook it for you and they hand it to you, or they give you like a number that they call out, whatever. You go and pay, and then you go and grab a table. It's like a cafeteria type of deal, but the portions were really big, and the food was awesome. Like every single time, it was always popular.
Not a hospital.
Damn it, I can't remember the name. We used to go with.
Not a hospital.
Huh?
Not a hospital.
No, I don't know that. No.
It's not. It isn't a hospital.
I went there with. I don't know if Shane, if you remember Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there with him. I went with other people as well. It's like disparate people, right? Like people have no connection to each other. And I would go to this every single time I went to Vancouver, I ended up at this restaurant. It was like I felt like it was the only restaurant that existed in Vancouver because every single time I went there, I didn't know where I was. I was there with other people who were driving. I'd end up at this place. And I'm dying to remember the name of it.
I can't think of what it's called. I'm sorry, man.
I'll find it one of these days.
Okay. Well, look, I'd be fascinated to know what it was when you eventually do find it, because I mean, I'd just be up for a place like that. Truthfully, sounds good.
This is my mission. I'm going to find out the name of this place before our next episode, and then I'm going to let you guys in on it.
Here's what I'm scared that you're going to find out. I'm scared that you're going to find out that your friends were taking you to, like, the Vancouver General Hospital or some damn thing. You know, like, that's what I'm concerned about here. Like,
well, it's definitely not Vancouver General Hospital. It was like a standalone restaurant in a little shop.
Definitely
like on a major road.
Okay.
Can't think of what it's called.
In a very retail kind of area.
Oh, shit. It wasn't a coffee place, was it?
Well, it was kind of.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, hold on. It was a 24-hour?
Oh, I don't know if it was 24-hour.
One of the last really good 24-hour coffees in Vancouver. This was a time ago. This was back when I was in film school. But, like, this was, like late 90s. It was fully, shit, I can't remember what it was called either. But, it was like they had multiple locations. There was one down on English Bay, and then there was one Main Street sort of around about 40th. And then there was another one somewhere else. I can't remember where, but maybe Kits.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was fully a place like that. Oh man, what was it called? Oh, no, I'm on the same page as you now. I'm fully believed that this was a real thing. I just don't remember what its name was. You guys remember Elwood's, right?
Elwood's? No.
No? It would be out in Kitsilano, like, sort of pubish, but sandwiches and whatnot, coffee. Nah. It was in the 90s, it was there. The Whip.
Oh, Fresco's.
Around. The Whip is still around.
The Whip is still around? What?
Alan, did you
Fresco's?
It was Fresco's.
Fresco's? No, okay, not the place I'm thinking of. Huh.
Where the hell is that?
I'm looking it up.
How do you spell it?
Fresgo.
Fresco's. I have no idea. I want to know where this is.
They have a website.
Fresco's on Davie Street. Yep, that looks very much like a place where you'd take a tray.
So they're still around.
Oh, I know exactly where they are.
Where the fuck are they?
They're on. They're in the West End.
Davy and
Oh, Davy and that's a good question. What's the cross street? I'm not sure. I can see the restaurant.
Davy and Butte.
Yeah, Butte. Butte.
I want to go.
fuck's sake. Okay, that was so. That's like basically
Where
a
you used
block
to
from
live.
where I used to live.
Yeah.
Is that where Mary's used to be? Burger Mary's?
You're talking Vera's?
No, not Vera's. Vera's is further down. Vera's is closer to Granville.
Okay. Interesting.
Huh.
All right. Well, next time you're in town, we're going.
Right, we'll check it out.
All right, I'm so happy I remembered the name. Oh,
So am I.
now I can sleep.
On that note, boys and girls, after your riveting watching us look up a restaurant,
Yeah, well,
thank you for watching. Thank you for coming by. Do all the social media stuff. Follow Crack. Follow Crack? Follow Crack. Apparently,
Follow the
subscribe
crack.
is now replaced by the word crack.
it's like crack.
So there you go. We love you. Love us. And we'll see you all next week when we think up whatever the next beer is supposed to be. Say goodbye, everybody. And Alan, take us out.
Bye.